Hello, beautifuls. I'm back with another channeled message slash tarot reading. 3 months ago, the lights came on and the entire false architecture was exposed. The offer was refused, and the distorted grid went completely silent. If you're feeling right now a strange, heavy static in the field, here is exactly what is moving beneath the surface. The old, distorted grid is completely exhausted. Its defenses are crushed, and the repetitive loops it used to run have entirely failed. The distorted collective is now operating as a starving machine because the true line severed the supply. The false grid is sending out desperate, low frequency pings in the dark. You might even feel them, blind attempts to find a back door, trying to siphon energy because it has absolutely nothing left to generate of its own. But those signals, they cannot reach you. Every time the false, distorted field tries to hook back in, it hits a wall of ice. It shatters against a perimeter that the true line has already permanently sealed. Underneath all of the smoke and murky illusions it projects, something massive has cleared. The true line has stepped completely off the old script into a blank slate. There is a sharp, lethal clarity anchoring into the physical plane right now. It cuts straight through the noise and forcefully closes the door on the dead old timeline. The wheel, Jera, has already turned. The false structure is left sitting in the dark, locked in a dead stasis, while the true line stabilizes in absolute uncorrupted reality. The true line stands on solid ground, entirely untouchable by the collapse around it. So with that message, I am going to dive into a tarot reading and just see what comes through energetically in that. So we have the Queen of Wands, the Ten of Wands, the Four of Wands. So this gives me the sense of being in the Queen of Wands energy. The true line is, it does feel like a heavy burden at the moment. So there's like it feels like there is a heaviness, like a burden being carried in the home space as well. So we have the Four of Wands coming out. So you're actually carrying no burden. It is a projection, like a hologram layer that is trying to make you feel like you are carrying a burden, like you are carrying something that is basically not there. It's essentially the old field trying to offload its burden that it is carrying onto you by like projecting it into your space. There is actually this energy of celebration instead of projection of burden. So once you kind of realize that this is a burden that is not yours, it's actually a space where like you start celebrating more. And sorry about the noise, it happens whenever I push these messages. It was quiet all morning and then all of a sudden it happens while I'm doing these, so just ignore that if you can hear it. We have the Six of Cups in reversed, which is a projection overlay from the false field. It's giving the sense of like this has got nothing to do with the past. This has got nothing to do with anything that has happened before. But ultimately, this is actually to do with an old cycle that can no longer reach you. So this has got everything to do with the past. So this is to do with that. Then we have the Ten of Swords, so it is ultimately a dead structure. That's exactly what the channel message was saying. The structure is energetically dead, and it is trying to appear that it's not, and that's ultimately what it's been doing for a while now. It likes to like basically it ultimately tries to siphon from the true line because true line holds real creation and original creation, and the false line needs to siphon that energy so that it can create something that is being like ultimately stolen. So it's a stolen creation line, but this old field can no longer siphon from the creation itself. So you will see like them trying to loop things, trying to do all of this stuff, but like if you're part of the true line, you'll notice this A lot of the True Line probably don't even interact with that stuff anymore, unless you're being forced to in some sort of way. Um, but you basically see this. You will see how dead the structure is and how it just like it cannot create anything new for itself or even for other people. So we have the Queen of Swords in reversed and the Knight of Cups in reversed. These two are both reversals. So in my framework of true line readings, this would suggest that the Queen of Swords here is cold cut truth. It's like it's trying to minimize, it could be trying to minimize what I'm saying, it could be trying to minimize what you're saying, but this truth cut that you kind of, you're the Queen of Swords and you hold the sword of truth, and you're ultimately like, you're no longer buying into that like emotional kind of like framework, the false emotions, the false empathy, all that stuff. So you're cutting through it with the cold, clear cut truth. And the Knight of Cups in reverse is an energy of um it's like a it's supposed to be like an energy coming through or coming towards you. And I do think that this is ultimately, if the Queen of Swords is before it, you're kind of like not allowing that false empathy to come through. I think I just said it before anyway. So you're not allowing those false, emotional things to pull you in anymore. That's ultimately what I've realized and learned, and what is ultimately kind of there in the structure. The false structure will use empathy because it stole it from true empaths, the true line, and it twists it to make it look like they are empathetic themselves. But they actually only know how to perform empathy. They don't actually have it within them or inside of themselves. So you're ultimately like truth cutting through that, and those false, you know, empathetic situations or even offers or incoming things that are coming through. And then we have the Two of Cups in reversed, which would give a sense of the energy right now. The false field is trying to project over your connection with true source. It's trying to say that you're disconnected, but you're actually not. Your connection is extremely stable and there's no volatility in it. The only volatility here is that the false structure itself is in this decay cycle, this quarantine, as you would say, and it is literally dead. Like it is dead. So these echoes, these projections are all attempts to try to delay the physical reality from showing this death. In the energetic realm, it is dead. It no longer has a hold over anything. Like it doesn't have authority in the field anymore. It doesn't have authority over energetics anymore. Like this whole situation, it's trying to project that in the physical reality that nothing can change. But it is going to change, and it's going to be very visible. We have the Ace of Cups in reversed. Yeah, so it's trying its best to tell you that you do not have a connection with true source, and this is like complete nonsense, right? So ultimately these reversals are a desperate attempt to invert the reality that is the true line and what the true line holds and what connection it has. So yeah, that's kind of what's coming through. It's kind of going with the channeled message itself, and ultimately here, this is a transmission into the field, and it is final. And yeah, if you're resonating with it, if you feel it, if you're part of the true line, then you will know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what this is all about. And if you're part of the old field itself, you will probably react, or you'll probably have some form of reaction that is unexplainable. And that's not really my fault, but that's just kind of like what happens if you come into a space that is not meant for you, distortion in the true line space, then it will create a reaction for you. Anyways, take care, and I'll see you in another one whenever that comes through. I know I haven't been around on YouTube for a while or just posting in general, but that's because the field has been super ugly, and volatile and aggressive and violent, just specifically in my space. It tries to stop me from receiving these messages. It tries to, sit over the true line quite a lot, but it never works. I know methods. I know the ways. I've learned. I've done all the things I need to do. So these messages will always come through. It's just a matter of allowing the signal to come through cleanly. Anyways, take care, and I'll see you in another one. Bye bye.